Daybreak Extra.
Garden Guy Charlie Stocker joins us once again this morning, taking all of your calls. So if you have a question for Charlie, just call that number on your screen. And we already have someone on the line this morning. It is Judy.
Morning, Judy.
Morning, Charlie. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm doing good. I have a question for you.
All right.
I have a hydrangea, and they're growing really long and turning back up. How do I prune those? Do you do it above the leaf, below the leaf, or what?
You trim just above, you have opposite leaves, and you trim just above that, and then you'll get a bud set. The bud set will come out to the side, but if you want to reduce the size, just trim the stem down to either the first or the second set of leaves, and you'll be good to go. And believe it or not, a little bit of Epsom salts will help it continue to bloom.
Kathy is our next caller this morning.
Morning, Kathy.
Hi, Charlie. You're sounding a lot better today.
Yeah, I'm 90%. Thank you. Thank you.
Good. I have a couple of questions about my annuals.
Okay.
Is it too hot to fertilize? And I have a habit of when I deadhead my flowers, I stick those back into the soil to kind of decompose. Is that a good idea or not?
Yeah. Number two, it's all that material is living material. Organic material is made up of living and dead plant and animal material. So yes, when you trim it off, when you deadhead perennials, you put it back in the soil, it will take a little bit longer if you don't have it in a compost pile, but it still will decompose. The natural order of things is for that to decompose and feed the soil, and the soil feeds the plants. In terms of your fertilizing, that's a great question, because here's what I've always suggested over the years, and we found it to be true, but whether you can bring yourself to do it or not is another question. The magic date is the 4th of July, so we're going to play like it's the 4th of July, and it's still that magic date. We always say when it comes to this time of year and your annuals have just been gangbusters and have just been beautiful through the season, you want to trim them back in half. I know it sounds bizarre, but trim them back in half. You let them rest and put some 5-10-5 fertilizer, put some fish emulsion, put some Miracle, whatever you want to put on the ground, and you revive them. And believe it or not, the second half of the season, they will be stronger than the first half, just allowing them to rest that 1 week. So trim them all the way, trim them back in half where there's no flowers, fertilize them with a 5-10-5 fertilizer, and boom. So you can, if you don't do that, you can still have nice flowers. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying if you want to just give them an extra push. Now the third part of your question is all the rest of your material. Your perennials, your trees, et cetera, do not fertilize. Your burning bushes, your holly, unless you have a problem. Because here's what happens. If you continue fertilizing things that come back year after year, not annuals, but everything else, except for your rose bushes, what happens is they end up putting out new growth. And that new growth that comes out doesn't have a chance to harden off before you get into the winter, and many times you'll have winter dieback. So the rule of thumb is, for perennials, for shrubs, for trees, the 4th of July, you stop fertilizing.
Our next caller this morning is Linda.
Morning, Linda.
Hi, Charlie.
Good morning.
I've got a problem with my hostas. Something's biting them on the leaves. Those and my rose bushes.
Okay, you have holes?
Hostas.
Yeah, little holes on my hosta leaves.
Okay, those are slugs and snails. And what you want to use, the active ingredient that you want to find in the snail and slug bait is iron sulfate. That's the most, in my opinion, and what I found and what I've talked to other gardeners about, your best chemical is iron sulfate. And I'm going to make a recommendation on what I use. I use Corey's, C-O-R-E-Y''S, and I get it from Lowe's. But it's like little pelletized, just real small pieces of chemical, and I sprinkle it around the hosta. They eat that, they go back to their whatever, and it kills them. And they lose their appetite totally. And it works, because if there's anything you don't like, it's to see holes in your hostas that you have to look at the rest of the season. So Corey's Iron Sulfate Snail Killer.
Jamie is our last caller this morning.
Morning, Jamie.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Fine. We have some thorn trees that...
Some what?
Thorn trees?
Thorn trees, hawthorns, honey locust. Okay, just real quick, there are a number of problems with insects and diseases, and we're going to be addressing those on Hey Garden Guy, Charlie Stocker, Facebook. The squash bug, the vine borer, all those things, and then white pine decline. And we'll have pictures of them so you are educated and know how to treat them. So go to our Facebook page.
All right. Thanks so much, Charlie, for being here this Friday. We'll be right back after the break.